Hello, brains! I was going to start this episode with me juggling a bunch of different tasks to demonstrate a situation that required way too much executive function. But I realized getting all the props for that and figuring out how to act it out and film it properly required way too much executive function. Did I use that term right? What is executive function?
Executive functions are specific ways the brain processes and manages information. The three main executive functions are working memory, cognitive flexibility, and inhibitory control. Working memory temporarily stores information we are thinking about, like a set of instructions we've just been given, that we're repeating in our heads. Cognitive flexibility is our mental ability to compare and apply knowledge between different concepts. With it, we can adjust to change and manage different perspectives. Inhibitory control is our ability to control our attention, behaviours, thoughts, and feelings. It allows us to control our impulses, direct our attention, and mentally filter out information from our senses.
Executive function, noun, is a set of cognitive processes that help us self-regulate so we can effectively plan, prioritize, and sustain effort toward our goals. Executive function is kind of like the CEO of the brain. It helps us go from wanting to do a thing to actually getting it done. And there's a lot that goes into that. The cognitive processes that make up executive function are things like response inhibition, which helps us not be impulsive; working memory, which helps us hold information in our head temporarily or remember it while we work with it; set shifting, which is what helps us shift between tasks that have different cognitive demands; and the ability to delay immediate gratification so we can achieve long-term rewards. In ADHD, the research term for this is delay aversion. These functions help us with what people often call being an adult, which makes sense because executive function is located in the last part of the brain to develop and doesn't fully develop until around the age of 25. In ADHD brains, it takes even longer. According to ADHD researcher Dr. Russell Barkley, executive function in ADHD is up to 30% delayed, which is why those with ADHD can seem immature. And even once it does fully develop, it's still impaired. So some of the things parents do to support their kids' executive function: make sticker charts, lists, put away distractions, create routines they might have to do more of or for longer for their ADHD kids. And as adults, we often need to do this for ourselves. This is so critical for those of us with executive function challenges that Dr. Barkley compares it to building a ramp for someone in a wheelchair. It's a necessary accommodation if we want to get to where we're trying to go. Not everyone with ADHD has impairments with all of the cognitive processes involved in executive function. For example, one brain's working memory might be just fine, but everyone with ADHD does have impairment in executive function overall. Often, it's not that we don't know what to do, it's that we don't have the executive function to effectively do it. So if you or someone you love is having a hard time getting things done, you might ask, is this actually about effort, or is this an executive function issue? When trying to create an ADHD-friendly environment, you might consider what would make things easier on executive function. If there are behaviors you want to discourage, you might ask, what would require more executive function? How could I make doing this thing harder? And if you're having a bad brain day because you didn't sleep well last night, you could say, my executive function isn't doing great right now. Maybe I need to skip the complicated intro.